One final thing you can do in your image would be to resize or rotate or move an object. To do this, you may actually just use the rectangular select tool. And to begin, I'm going to flip over this arrow and have it point the other direction. I'm going to zoom in and then select that arrow. It's got a slight angle to it, but as long as I get most of the arrow selected, I can always use the eraser tool to erase off some extra. Now to do this, I'm going to copy and paste the arrow, and that's going to create a new layer to our image. Layers can get a little bit tricky. The first thing I would do is go to Window and Layers, so we'll be able to see them. The shortcut key for that is F11. And right now I still just have one main layer, my background. But when I copy and paste this with Control-C to copy and Control-V to paste, you now see a new layer up here called Layer 1. And if I use the Move tool to click on this, you can see it's actually separate from the rest of the image. In fact, I can click on it and drag it around because I now have a copy of that arrow. You can do some fun things with this in Photoshop. You can just move an object and add an extra sign down below. There's lots of little things I can do to play around with it. But in this case, I actually want to rotate it. And if I set the mouse right on the little dot, I should be able to then click and drag to rotate the sign around. And then I'm going to move it back on top of the previous arrow. And I hit check. The final thing you may need to do with that is use the eraser to clean up the edges a little bit. In this case, I've got a dark corner from the tree. So if I grab the eraser tool, again, you can adjust the brush size, the brush type, and opacity. I'm going to try this size for now. I'm going to zoom in a little closer so I can be really detailed. And I just want to try to erase off a little bit of the corner of the sign. Now, what's happening is I'm not erasing the sign. I'm erasing my image. That's because now over here on Layers, I'm on the background. I want to erase the sign, which is on Layer 1. So first thing I'm going to do is Control-Z to fix my mistakes. And now select Layer 1. And now as I start erasing, you can see the background staying there, but that dark corner of my sign, or up here, the bright corner of my sign, those things are the things that are getting erased. So that's what I meant by layers can be a little bit confusing. It takes a little bit of work to get used to them. In this case, I'm going to try scooting my sign over a couple clicks. There was this white boundary on this side that I actually have showing up twice, and it wasn't over here. So I click on my sign, and I'm just going to press the arrow keys just to scoot it a little bit over. You can see now the white border going all the way around the arrow. So that's one example of using the select box and the move tool to change an object in your image.